and good afternoon. My last video, I think I was on a couple of books concerning Nubian Christianity. This book has got to be one of the better books that you'll find on the topic, and it's entitled Christianity and Monasticism in Aswan and Nubia. This is written by a pair of Coptic Orthodox scholars, Galdat Gabra and Hani Takla. So their perspective is going to be a little bit different than that of the Eastern Orthodox. However, one of the most important things about Nubian Christianity is that both the Chalcedonian and non-Chalcedonian churches, that is the Eastern Orthodox and the Oriental Orthodox, had churches in the Nubian kingdoms, primarily Nobadia, the northern Nubian kingdom, and Makuria, the southern and the more powerful of the three Nubian kingdoms. In fact, Makuria would eventually absorb Nobadia into its realm, but yet Makuria would also be under the influence of the Patriarch of Alexandria, that is the head of the Coptic Church, and not that of the Eastern Orthodox, the Chalcedonian Church. However, both churches existed. How well they existed, probably a little bit better than most places in the empire. But the thing about this idea of orthodoxy, it was not this Christianity was not brought in by slave masters. It was brought in first and foremost by monks of the upper portions of Egypt who filtered down into Nubia. The island of Philae, the temple of Philae, and the island of Elephantine. This is where you have Christianity in the African continent that is organic, that is a part of African culture. And it's kind of sad whenever we talk about, ancient Africa, we want to talk about the great Egyptian pharaohs and pyramids, which is cool. And we also want to talk about the movement of Islam through North Africa and through the African continent in general, which is fine. And nowadays we have more people talking about the presence of Black Hebrews, which, okay, that's something that can be discussed. But we have to talk about the fact that Christianity has been on the African continent, and in particular the Nubians, who resisted the invasion of Muslim Arabs and held off that invasion with the Bakht Treaty, a treaty that kept that border between Islamic Egypt and Christian Sudan. So we definitely this book is a great thing to have in your library. Not only the explanation of the way that the different types of Christianity came into Nubia, but also the fact that both the Chalcedonian and non-Chalcedonian churches were deeply involved in monasticism, deeply involved in a spirituality where one would be engrossed in prayer and developing a strong prayer life. Also, there are a lot of references to some of the archaeology that's been done in the area of northern Sudan and southern Egypt. Granted, a lot of things, unfortunately, were destroyed when the Aswan High Dam was built and that whole portion of the Nile flooded. So many artifacts, so many writings were destroyed. But there were some things that were found. And there's still a lot of research still being done on the topic of Christianity in Nubia. This is a fantastic book to have in your library if you are studying early African Christianity. So please, this is a book that I highly recommend. And I will get with you later on a couple of other books. For now, have a good day. Sorry about that.